Phil, what'd you think of that?
There's so many things in my brain that are like trying to unpack all of this. I'm friends with Ref Keener, who was ref in the ECW days, and he's like Steve Carino's best friend, and he very openly talks about the day in ECW when it was like, oh, you're gonna have a moment where you're going to there's going to be blood involved tonight. You're getting a 4-figured amount for your payday today, and wrestlers now who are taking much more extravagant risks are doing it for sometimes, well, this is your opportunity, buddy. It's like, what is happening? And so there's an element of the watered downness that sometimes happens in wrestling, where wrestler goes to place A and place A doesn't want them, so they go to place B, or they start place B because they couldn't get into A, and then it just happens. The cycle just keeps happening, and sometimes we water down the product too much. And so then people try to go, let me do more extravagant, crazy things, and to increase this level. One of the things that freaked me out in pro wrestling, watching it, I didn't have the reaction that I had when I watched in the back this being taken out of when I saw somebody take a Kenzin. So it's like, imagine this little silver metal disc that has a whole bunch of metal spikes on it, and watching it, and then it got stuck in this person's head when they took it. I'm watching it going, okay, impact in the match, I get it. And then in the back, for context of what I'm about to say, my mother was an obstetrics nurse. I would walk in sometimes visiting her while she was working, hear people in labor, very significant pain. And I heard this being removed from somebody and never heard pain like I've heard before with that. And so it put it into a different kind of context for me that first time I ever got to see that happen. Knowing it's painful, of course, but then just the amount that person goes through, and of course other injuries happen too. But the escalation trade-off, is it? AEW is a different kind of thing. It's the number 2 company in the United States. So certainly there's already a level of exposure. The impetus was on, let's show the violence that these two are willing to go to whatever lengths it'll take to end their feud and their rivalry, to level course, whatever it is. I'm concerned about that replication that you see down the path with within wrestling, but it's also like John said, it's based on the audience. Like, does your audience know what they're coming to expect? Do they know that's what they're going to get? I'm not, being from not the Vegas area, I am not the biggest fan of like some sports commissions at times, but those who do regulate it, it's like, okay, maybe there's some reasons why some things need to be more regulated.
Right.
They took a risk, and AEW is known for taking different kinds of risks. I mean, even when yes, bad timing, when Nick Gage and Chris Jericho had their match, and there was the pizza cutter moment, and there was an advertisement for Domino's, and they lost Domino's.
Still an all-time classic.
I mean, yeah. And that, but I say that, and I'm not trying to make fun of the moments in my head, because they didn't change course. They didn't go, whoops, oh, we offended a sponsor, let's do what we can to backtrack and kowtow and change the way we want to do some things. They've gone sort of the other way. Like, okay, it's made people talk. It's made people pay some attention to the number 2 company in wrestling in the United States. So like, I'm adding that because it's, again, this isn't a crowd of people that are in front of 10 people doing this. This is a nationwide audience. But I do feel like, okay, then where's the balance? WWE in the day, when Raw would go past 10, you would see an uptake in some of the things that they were doing, not to the deathmatch level, but the reason they were doing it at 10 was because after 10 o'clock, more kids are asleep. Now, Of course, there's some fallacy in some of that logic too, because, at what age are they really going to sleep and not just turning on the TV that's in their bedroom or now on a device? So there is a little bit of a transition now between, well, what is appropriate for an audience, an all ages audience, a mainstream audience? Does that change with time? What are they doing? And so I'm cautious. I'm not shy from it, but again, it's the audience. Like, does the audience know what they're going to get what they are going to get into. And being shocking it shouldn't be a shock, but at the same time, like, then where's the course? And that's, Mark, you and I have had this conversation more with AEW about, like, okay, so what is next? Where are you driving this?
Mm-hmm.
Was this just for this big moment and that's it? Or is there what's the next page? Like, where are you turning to next to keep driving this? Is it, because if it's escalation of more of the same, well, where does that go?
Right.
And I'm sure John and I could probably tell you some stories of places where deathmatch wrestling has gone horribly wrong with people who don't know what they're doing, who thought, like, I will do very violent things to myself and, oh, that'll get me the exposure. That'll get me this opportunity. And it doesn't. It really doesn't pay off. And like John said, there are people who have gotten very injured on things that, this is commonplace. I'll take a light tube and then have to go to the hospital because a shard did damage to them and they had to get surgery. So, there's, again, I'm trying to be very mindful of the audience that's listening now to, like, what I'm saying too.
Hi, pro wrestling fans. Mark Hoke here. I'd really appreciate it if you would take a moment to join the Mark Hoke Show family, and please click on the subscribe button below. Also, please stick around and check out the incredible sponsor of this video. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again on the Mark Hoke Show YouTube channel.
Looking for high-quality custom screen printing in Las Vegas? Look no further than Off-Grid Creations. Need a few custom t-shirts for a local event, band merchandise, or family reunion? We've got you covered. Large order of uniforms for your staff, sports team, or club? We can handle that too. Our experienced team will work closely with you throughout the entire process from design consultation to final product. Call us at 661-300-1115. That's 661-300-1115, or visit our website at off-gridcreations.com. Get a free consultation today.